Hello everyone, welcome back to Code with Anvi. In the previous video, we completed setting up our web development environment. We have installed the required tools like web browser, which was already existing in our machine, Google Chrome, VS Code, which we have installed it, and some useful extensions. These tools will help us write and manage our code efficiently. From this video onwards, we are finally going to start learning HTML, which is the foundation of every website. But wait, before writing any code, let me quickly show you something. Remember in the last video, we have installed few extensions and out of which one extension was live server. So you can clearly see that my project is actually open in VS Code. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and pick this option called open with live server. And when you do that, this website, which you can see, is going to be the final end result that we are going to build once we finish away the entire HTML module. Okay, so you can clearly see from the top to the bottom, we do have headings, paragraphs, images, list items, videos, forms, embeds, audio files, video files, and many more, even map and YouTube videos embedding as well. So, one thing you may be definitely, it might be clicking into your head right now that it might not look beautiful because we have not used CSS yet. This is the first thought that might be coming into your mind, okay? So, CSS is something which is going to make the website beautiful, and JavaScript will make our website interactive. So, this website that you're currently seeing is purely built in HTML. So, there is no either CSS or JavaScript involved yet. So I know that you people might be definitely thinking that there is no colors, no vibrance, or no, the website does not look that much alive right now. And the main concern is because we have not added any CSS to it yet. Okay. So, but still, almost all with using all the concepts that we're going to cover in future, this is what we are going to build by the end of the day. So that being said, first of all, what exactly do you think HTML is? HTML basically stands for Hypertext Markup Language. This is the language, especially a standard markup language, which is used for creating web pages. Every website we see on the internet starts with HTML. Without HTML, a web page cannot exist. సింపుల్గా చెప్పాలంటే HTML లేకుండా వెబ్సైట్ అనేది అసలు క్రియేట్ చేయడం పాసిబులే కాదు. అసలు HTML అనేది ఒక ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ కాదు. సో ప్లీజ్ దానికి దీనికి అసలు రిలేట్ చేయడం అవసరం లేదు. ఇట్ ఈస్ జస్ట్ స్ట్రక్చర్డ్ లాంగ్వేజ్ అంతే. ఓకే. సో హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ యూజ్ చేసుకొని మనము హెడ్డింగ్స్ కానివ్వండి, పారాగ్రాఫ్స్ కానివ్వండి, ఇమేజెస్ కానివ్వండి, ఇలా టేబుల్స్ కానివ్వండి, ఫార్మ్స్ కానివ్వండి, వీడియో ఫైల్స్ కానివ్వండి, ఆడియో ఫైల్స్ కానివ్వండి, ఇలాంటి థింగ్స్ మనము మన వెబ్సైట్లో యాడ్ చేయొచ్చు. అయితే హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ అనేది మనకి మూడు మెయిన్ థింగ్స్ మీద వర్క్ అవుతుంది. ఆ త్రీ మెయిన్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ థింగ్స్ ఏంటంటే ఎలిమెంట్స్, ట్యాగ్స్ మరియు యాట్రిబ్యూట్స్. అయితే ఈ ఎలిమెంట్స్, ట్యాగ్స్ ఇంకా యాట్రిబ్యూట్స్ గురించి డిస్కస్ చేసే కంటే ముందు ఫస్ట్ మన మొదటి హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ ని క్రియేట్ చేయబోతున్నాము. సో నేను ఏం చేస్తానంటే ఇప్పుడు ఉన్న ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ కోడ్ ఏదైతే ఉందో అది మొత్తం తీసేస్తున్నాను. హవెవర్ బై ది ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ద డే వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు బిల్డ్ ద ప్రాజెక్ట్ వన్స్ అగైన్. సో నేను ఇది తీసేసి సేవ్ చేసిన వెంటనే ఇఫ్ యూ గో బ్యాక్ టు ది బ్రౌజర్ యూ సీ మొత్తం క్లియర్ అయిపోయింది ఇక్కడ కూడా. రిమెంబర్ ఇన్ ద ప్రీవియస్ వీడియో వెన్ ఐ వాస్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయినింగ్ యూ అబౌట్ ది లైవ్ సర్వర్ is one that sort of extension which will automatically reciprocate once you do any necessary changes and save the document over here. Right? Automatically the changes will be reflected in the browser. So I'll do one thing. I'll close away this entire thing because you should even know and understand how to create a proper folder structure. It's not that you can create the HTML file wherever you want. So before creating our HTML file, let's quickly look at how developers usually organize projects. So anywhere I'm taking the desktop, but you can create your project folder wherever you want. So just right click, click on new and select folder. I'm going to name this thing as HTML project. You can name this folder usually the project name which is going to be assigned to you by the client. So once you open the project folder, the next step that you're going to do is open and create a new folder. And this folder, the root folder, you can name this thing as HTML. And inside this thing, we are going to take four more folders. One could be for CSS, next for JavaScript, then for fonts, and finally for images. So once you create the project folder structure, before I open this project folder structure in our IDE, which is VS Code, which we have installed in the previous video, I have shown you how to install it, right? I hope you people are ready. And let me just try to click on File and Close Folder. So initially, when you open up VS Code, this is how it's going to look like. Okay, you might even see some options for creating new file, open folder, clone Git repository, connect to, etc., etc. So we have already created a folder and you can see it. The folder name is HTML project. So what you're going to do is once you open VS Code, go to file and choose the option called open folder. Now inside this thing, go to desktop and pick our project folder. Click on select folder. So inside HTML is where you're going to right click and create a new file. Select the option new file. I'm going to name this document index.html. By the way, the extension for HTML documents would be either HTML or HTML. So before we write something over here, let me tell you why I have taken the rest of the other folders. So this is the folder structure that usually most of the developers prefer. CSS is for implementing the CSS. All the CSS related files are going to go inside the CSS folder. All the fonts that we are going to implement inside our website for our web application will go inside the fonts folder. All the images that we want to add inside our website are going to go inside the images folder, and all the scripts or JavaScript that we are going to write is going to the JavaScript folder. And all the HTML pages, remember not only home page, but about page, contact page, so many pages will be available for the website. All of them are going to go inside the main HTML folder. Okay, so as of now, I have created the file with the name index.html. Now, you might be hearing a lot, or you might be seeing a lot that most of the tutorials and most of the uh, developers name the home page or the page that they are working on with index. Why do you think the file name index is necessary? You can, let me tell you, name it whatever you want, but the main thing is the index page navigates to home page. I mean, basically, let me make it clear to you guys. Whenever you deploy your application in the server, in the internet, that is, currently HTML is a static language, okay? So we can happily see this result in the browser, in the existing browser, right? So, but that does not mean that our website is live. Let me tell you what exactly I mean. Here, let me just try to write something. Let me save this and right click and open in live server. There you go, that's my first website. But wait, if you're thinking that this website is currently available online and it is publicly visible to everyone in the world, no. This is currently in my own machine. Okay, it is currently running in our own machine. And exactly, let me tell you, it's running in a server though. But you can even locally open it. This is basically our project folder, right? You can go inside it and inside the HTML folder, and you can manually open it from this. Okay, by double click on this. fine. And obviously, the moment you save the document with .htm or .html, my Windows file system has automatically observed and understood that it is a browser file or it is a website file and it should definitely open it inside the browser only. Since my default browser is Google Chrome, you can see Chrome icon reflecting over here. Trust me, the things are going to be the same if you're using Mac or Linux as well. Okay, so now that we are done with this thing, let me just try to go back over here and I'm going to clean it off. I just wanted to let you know that whenever you try to create something over here and see the result over there in the browser, don't think that we are our website currently that we have just now created is inside the internet. No. So later on, we are going to deploy our project inside the internet. Okay. That concept is basically called as deployment. So once we finish up with the entire project, we will deploy it in the server. Okay. So around that time, what we are going to do is once we push those files inside the server, the domain which is there, for example, let's go to google.com. When I go to google.com, why only this page opens? Because Google's home page is this, which is the index page. Likewise, when I throw this or deploy this application in the server, in my purchased server, whatever domain that I'm going to have, when I run my domain, the first page that the server is going to look into and load would be index page only. That's the reason you might be seeing so many tutorials mentioning or taking the main home page to be mentioned as index. Okay, so now that we're done, we need to clearly understand what elements are and tags are and attributes are. Because, as I mentioned, the entire HTML relies on these three things elements, tags, and attributes. But before I explain that, let me write down the structure. So, see, one important note that I'm going to tell you right now VS Code is one of the most important, one of the most precious software or an IDE or a code editor, which almost all some millions of coders do use for developing their applications. But as a user, as a beginner, let me tell you, it is always a good practice to rather continue with Notepad. Okay, because just now you can see this entire thing which I have written does not or might not be making any sense to you right now. Okay. The reason we were able to get this thing is because we are using VS Code. But if you were using Notepad, each and every line of piece of code or markup that you're seeing over here, you would have been writing it with your own hands. So I would suggest at least for the couple of days for the beginners to pick Notepad as their IDE. Okay. Or alternatively, you can even use Notepad++. At least it comes up with some numbering. Okay. So actually, let me show you. Okay. So if I open Notepad, you see, if I type in same HTML and if I try to do some tab or something, which I've done over here for getting the entire code, so the same thing does not happen. Here, I need to write each and everything with my own free hands. Okay. So you may be thinking, so then that is really harder. Yes, it might be harder writing each and every piece of line of code with your own hands, but at least you will remember, you'll memorize that markup. Okay. So at least for the couple of days, at least until you finish up with the entire HTML, or mainly until you get an idea about what all elements we do have, what all tags are available, and what are attributes. Until you get this clarity, just stick to Notepad. It's just a suggestion or a small tip, but you can happily continue with VS Code also. It's not a problem. Okay. So let me actually clean all these things away, or let me show you actually how exactly the entire code came. Whenever you try to type in HTML, you see we get three options over here. And this is possible because of something called emit. Emit basically is a tool which is pre-built in VS Code. This thing is going to help us to allow to get HTML5 snippets. By the way, as I was talking about HTML, HTML is basically one of the most prominent structural language which is used for developing web applications. And let me tell you, without HTML, there is no website. Earlier to HTML5, we were having HTML4, 3, 2, and 1 as well. Okay. So the main thing that you need to actually understand is HTML5 is the latest version, and that is what we are going to learn. So currently, I'm going to pick this option. So now, how did I even get these options? If you try to type in HTML, automatically it's giving me suggestions, okay, from which you can use your keyboard arrows and pick which one you want to go with. If you want to select the first one, HTML, only the HTML tag will come. But you need to pick the second one, which is this one, HTML5. Okay. So the moment you pick that one, you see the entire markup has been pre-populated. Okay. So now that we are done, what we are next going to do is let us just try to understand what each and every line of code this thing is and understand what exactly the elements are, the tags are, and attributes are. Okay. So first of all, inside the body, let me take H1 and I'll write welcome to my first web page. Let me save this thing. So before I start talking about each and every piece of line of code over here, we should definitely understand what elements are, what tags are, and what attributes are. Because as I've mentioned, entire HTML, this three things are really very important, and the entire HTML works with these three things only. Okay. So first of all, this one thing is enough for me to explain you what exactly elements and tags are. So you see this H1, basically the H1 and some content in between the H1, what they actually mean is the H1 which you're seeing right now, this one is called as opening tag. Okay. And this one is called as closing tag. Okay. And the welcome to my first web page which you're seeing is the content. Okay. So combining all these three things together is called as an HTML element. Okay, so which means this entire thing which I've selected just now is called as an HTML element. Okay, now tags basically are of two types. One, paid tags, and second, unpaid tags. Okay, so paid tags are those which do have both opening and closing. Let me fix that. Okay, and let me close this thing actually, the right side part. We don't need it. Okay, so and unpaid tags are those which do not have any closing tag. Okay, so we will talk about attributes, but that means if you observe carefully, the entire markup that just VS Code has given, the HTML5, when I've typed on HTML5, it do have so many tags actually. And remember, tags are of two types is what I've told, paid and unpaid. The entire markup do have all of those. First of all, if you observe carefully, the very first one, HTML, you can see HTML is there over there also, here also, at the very end. Okay, here. Okay, and at the same time, we even can see head here also, title here also, body here also, and H1 here also. So all the things that I have referred just now are basically paid tags because those are the tags which do have both opening and closing. Okay, so the tags which do have both opening and closing are called as paid tags, which means in the current markup that you see, HTML, head, title, body, and H1, all these things are paid tags. Okay, so we even do have few unpaid tags which do not have any closing. And those tags are nothing but the meta tags that you see over here. Okay, you can clearly see that they are not closed something like this, right? That's because meta tags are unpaid tags. Okay, clear? I hope that is clear to you guys right now. Okay, now before again to understand all these lines, now you might have understood what elements are and what tags are. Again, let me refresh you. This is called as opening tag and this is called as closing tag. And this is content. But together, all these things is called as an element. Okay? Chalo. And I've already explained you how many types of tags are going to be, and I've clearly shown you what all those things are. Okay. Now, before we jump into attributes, I would like to talk about few important things. If you see carefully, why do we even have all of them twice? Like HTML is two times, head is two times, body is two times, H1 is two times, title is two times. Why? Both opening and closings are available. Why? Consider this thing this way. HTML is the parent of all. HTML is going to have two children. One is head, one is body. Okay. So inside the HTML tag, we are going to have two things. What are they? Head and body. Okay, so I'll write down all those things also. Okay, understanding the entire markup. So the HTML, this is the root element of the entire HTML document. Okay, and everything in the web page comes inside this tag. Okay, then we do have head section. So the head section contains information about the web page, and most of the content inside the head is not visible on the page itself. Okay, I'll show you why. Because if you observe carefully, there is something called title document. Okay, and if I just try to right click and open our page with the live server, you can clearly see that the title document is the only thing that we are able to see. I've modified that thing to HTML, save it. You see? So the title, whenever you try to write something in the title, it is going to be visible inside our web page tab. Okay. So that is the only thing that we write inside the head is going to be visible. The rest of the other things will not be visible. Okay. So that's the reason I have clearly mentioned most of the content inside the head is not visible. Okay. Apart from the title. Okay. And the title defines the title for our application and which appears in the browser tab. Actually, it makes sense if I write it appears in the browser tab. Okay, and finally comes the body. What is this body used for? So the body is where all the visible content that we see inside our website goes into. So everything that we see inside the website goes inside the body. Okay, or I can even write it something like this. The body tag contains all the visible content of the web page. Okay, so now one more important thing is that when I save this thing and if I go to the browser, you can see something, but most of the information that I've written over here is not visible still. The reason is these things are called as comments. Okay, less than symbol, exclamation, hyphen, hyphen, and hyphen, hyphen, greater than symbol. Whatever you write in between these things, they are not going to be rendered by the application. Then you may be thinking, why are we even using them? They are used for our own understanding. Whenever you're going to work with a group of people, if you're gone for an hiatus or for a vacation, if some other person opens your code, he should be able to easily understand it. So whenever we build an application, we need to write some comments that where we have started what section and all, so that it's going to be easier for everyone to understand. Okay. So which means if I try to throw this entire thing also inside the comments, now we won't be able to see anything at all. Our website is empty. What I'll do is I'll just try to take this one thing outside the comment and there you go. Okay. So this way we are going to create our very first website. Okay. So now that we have actually understood all these things, there are few very important things that I would like to talk about. Now you actually understood what elements are and what tags are. Okay, but we still don't know what attributes are. You know what head is used for, what body is used for, but the very first time, what is this doc type HTML? So the doc type HTML basically, let me write that thing also down over here inside the comments. This thing. This can even be written in lowercase or capital case, doesn't matter. Basically, this tells the browser that this document is written in HTML5 version. Okay, all right. I hope you have understood now. And I guess that sums up. Most probably, we have understood the entire thing. And actually, let me tell you one important thing. I'll first of all remove this entire things though for a moment. So this specific lines that you're seeing over here is called as the default HTML5 markup or default HTML5 boilerplate or default HTML5 skeleton. Now this specific lines of code you're going to write whenever you're going to create any website. Literally whatever website that you're going to start with, this lines or this bits and pieces of markup is mandatory. Okay. Now I hope you got it. And writing doctype HTML was used to be mandatory at least before HTML5, but from HTML5 this is not mandatory anymore. It is just recommended. It's a good practice. Okay. Now we will be discussing about the document metadata in the future coming classes though. It is not that relevant as of now, but we will definitely discuss about these things. So apart from that, I hope you have understood the rest of all the other things. One more thing I would like to tell you is please make sure that whatever you want to show inside the website, make sure that you pass inside the body only. Because apart from that, even if you try to pass the information inside the head or somewhere outside the head, anywhere also it will still comes. Okay, so please try to understand that don't ever try to use the content or whatever thing that you want to show inside the website directly wherever you want, not inside the head, not inside anywhere inside the HTML document, but it should only go inside the body tag. So keep this one thing in mind all the time. And sorry about the notifications and I mean about the call notifications and all. Ignore them. Sorry for the inconvenience. So yeah, I hope that actually makes sense. And before we actually close it off, I guess I have already cleared up all those things. So we have seen what HTML is, the folder structure of a project, the basic HTML skeleton, and elements tags. And yeah, by the way, we forgot about something called attributes. Let me actually discuss about attributes also, and then we can wrap it up. So basically, attributes in HTML are the adva- additional information that we add to the elements. Okay, so in the entire markup, there are attributes also. Can you guess where exactly those attributes is? Try guessing them. I'll give you 5 seconds. Let me clean this. Yeah. So in this entire markup, we even do have attributes. Remember, again, I'm telling you, attributes are the additional information that we add to an element. So if you have guessed, it would be this. Yes, you're true. So these are attributes. Okay. So most of the HTML attributes are property value pairs. Like for example, this stat set is the attribute property and UTF-8 is its value. Same way, name is the property and viewport is the value. Content is the property and the rest of the entire thing is the value. Okay. So this way, we are going to have so many attributes that we are going to see in the coming future classes in this entire HTML playlist. Okay. So I hope that sums up what by understanding what exactly HTML is. Thank you so much for understanding. We'll catch up in the next video. And please make sure don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.